If the world will stand against truth, then I will stand against the world. It's quite a phrase. Whoever says a phrase like that must be prepared to back it up. It is attributed to one of my favorite human beings of all history. A man that, if you call yourself a Christian, whether you've heard of him or not, he's one of your heroes. He's someone that is instrumental in Christian history. He's been a hero of mine for years. Today I want to talk a little bit about Athanasius of Alexandria. It's the 4th century. Christianity is free to exist, and there are heresies floating around. The early church tends to call councils not just willy-nilly, they call them to fight particular heresies. And the heresy that's really bugging the Christian world is one called Arianism. Put simply, it is a heresy that says Jesus is not God. And that obviously pulls at the very heart of Christianity and is really a threat to destroy Christianity before it's ever really gotten going. It's only been 300 or 400 years. This is something that might be a make or break deal for the church. Athanasius is beloved by a lot of writers and theologians for many different reasons, whether it's his incredibly strong personality, his just courage to fight continuously, or his writings, which are eloquent and beautiful. For me, I first encountered Athanasius when I was around 14, and it was in a sermon at church, and it blew me away. It's a story connected to a book that he wrote. The book is called On the Incarnation, about the incarnation of Christ, and talks about the question of, is Jesus God, or is he man, or is he God and man? Theologians throughout history have said it is one of the best works of theology ever written. It's a book that stood the test of time, and if you're thinking of a way to get into reading early church fathers, it's a really good place to start. It was my first ever entrance into the early church writings, was this book. C.S. Lewis, my favorite writer absolutely of the 20th century, he refers to the book as a masterpiece and said, only a mastermind could have written so deeply on such a subject with such classical simplicity. With all of the various fights that went out against Arianism as a heresy, this book was a really powerful weapon against it. It encapsulated Christian theology, it packaged it into a way that was easy to read, easy to understand, hard to argue with, and something that really formed part of the bedrock of clear orthodox theology for centuries to come. Here's the part that got me. He wrote this book at the age of about 19. He was watching as the church that he loved and the people that he loved were mistaking the identity of the Christ that he loved. And he loved Jesus Christ enough to really be worried about this, because this was something that was important to him, and here it was potentially breaking apart. So he put this book together at 19. At 19, he writes a book that really affects Christian history forever. He eventually becomes Bishop of Alexandria in North Africa. He is the head of the church there. The people love him, respect him. He's a nice man, tough but fair and good. But the authorities don't, because Arianism is quite a popular heresy, and it rears its head up over and over and over again over the years, leading Athanasius into conflicts with bishops, with clergy, with the emperor himself, after lies are spread about him to try and dethrone him from his seat as the Bishop of Alexandria. Over the course of his life, he spends 17 years in exile, living out in the desert, going from the head of the church to living in the desert trying to survive. Eventually they realize their mistake, he's brought back, he's made bishop again, he gets back to work fighting the heresy. The heresy gets really popular again, they kick him out again. And he never gives up. He never stops. And this phrase is attributed to him: if the world goes against truth, then I go against the world. He's not alone. His closest mentor is a man that eventually we'll probably have a video on him as well. His name is Anthony the Great. If you've watched Lord of the Rings, almost a Gandalf character that Athanasius will often go and seek counsel from. And continuing with the work that Athanasius does, he is one of the instrumental figures in composing the Nicene Creed, a statement of faith still used by the church to this day, and the definitive statement of the Christian faith. He is also the first person to compile a list of books that he believes should be the Christian New Testament. These 27 books that he compiles, in the order that he compiled them, is the New Testament that all Christians recognize. All of this work from one guy. The heresy of Arianism doesn't just go away with Athanasius' work. It takes other bishops to do this. The idea of him being against the world. Athanasius wasn't the only one fighting this, but he might as well have been for how much he felt. And the reasons for me that Athanasius just really stands out in my life is that, first of all, at the age of 19, he changed the world. In a world in which, as far as he was concerned at times, Christianity, the entire religion, was about to disappear into an array of heresies and mistakes. He might have been, in his mind, the only one believing Christian doctrine. And that didn't stop him. If he was the only one, he was the only one. He was prepared to be the only one. Are we prepared to be the only ones? Are we so interested in Christ that if we were the only one, would we stay the only one? I hope I would. And with examples like him to encourage us, I hope more of us would be prepared to stand against the world if it meant standing for truth and for Christ. So that's Athanasius. That's a great hero of yours as well as mine, whether you knew about him before this episode or not. There will be more videos down the road in which we talk about how the New Testament really got formulated, where that list came from, but hopefully you're a fan of his now as well. If anyone was wondering what tea I am drinking, it is French Earl Grey with a spot of honey. You can get French Earl Grey pretty much anywhere, but this is Australian honey, and the best honey in the world comes from Australia, so sorry if you're not here. Yep.